Xiao Yan listened to Shan Yao's words and seemed to recall something his master, the Golden Dragon King, had mentioned before. With a sudden realization, he exclaimed, "Could this mansion also be an immortal artifact?" Shan Yao hesitated slightly before replying, "An immortal artifact, perhaps? When we were by the lake earlier, I vaguely felt a calling, and ever since we entered this mansion, I've sensed a close connection to it." "Well, give it a try and see," Xiao Yan said, still astonished but with no time to ponder whether the mansion was an immortal artifact or something else. At that moment, Xiao Yan's pupils narrowed tightly, filled with excitement as his gaze locked onto a dust-covered box atop one of the two golden chairs before him. "I'll give it a shot," Shan Yao responded. She closed her eyes, concentrating as she tried to communicate with the faint connection she felt to the mansion. Somewhere in the shadowy corners of the wooden hall, a surprised voice quietly echoed, unnoticed by Xiao Yan. "What's the connection between the Heaven-Eyed Fish Clan and Kwangmu Immortal Master? How did she end up with half control over this estate?" This is... In the courtyard, Shi Ling, though restrained, was still able to channel her Do Qi. She closed her eyes as well, aligning with the same connection Shan Yao was trying to tap into. "There seems to be something here," Xiao Yan muttered to himself as he glanced outside the door but didn't notice anything unusual. As Shan Yao and Shi Ling continued to draw upon the faint connection to the mansion, a soft glow began to emanate from the two golden chairs in the hall. On the left, a subtle blue-red glow flickered, while on the right, a yellowish-red light shimmered faintly. "What's this?" Xiao Yan gasped in shock, his eyes widening as beads of sweat began to form on Shan Yao's forehead. At that moment, the flame Xiao Yan had cultivated from fusing 23 different types of heavenly flames erupted uncontrollably from within him, glaring viciously at the yellowish-red light before him. Could it be sacred flame? Xiao Yan's voice slowed to a near whisper, his gaze dulling in disbelief. "Shan Yao, Shi Ling, you've finally arrived." A voice, ancient and primordial, boomed through the hall. This voice, why does it feel so familiar? Both Shan Yao and Shi Ling thought to themselves. The next moment, two ethereal figures made of light gradually appeared on the golden chairs. The one on the left wore an elaborate alchemist's robe, clearly of extraordinary quality, as it even blocked Xiao Yan's soul from probing. This man looked to be in his prime, exuding an aura of confidence, a faint smile resting on his lips as he gazed at Xiao Yan and the others. Yet the subtle pressure emanating from him made Xiao Yan feel slightly uneasy. On the right was another man, completely engulfed in red-yellow flames. What caught Xiao Yan's attention was the small patches of dirt on the flames and the rock-like object held in the man's hands. The terrifying aura he exuded was overwhelming. "Uncle Mu," Shan Yao whispered, as if the words escaped her mouth uncontrollably upon seeing the two figures. "Good. It's about time you awoke," the alchemist said with satisfaction, casting a glance at Shan Yao. You seem to have something familiar on you, boy," the alchemist said, now turning his attention to Xiao Yan. With a gulp, Xiao Yan's storage ring began to stir, and a conch slowly floated out, drifting toward the alchemist. "This is something of Yu Xin's, isn't it?" the flame-clad figure asked, surprised at the sight of the conch. Indeed, it belonged to him. "It seems they couldn't escape their clan's destruction," the alchemist replied softly. "But how does this kid have so many things on him?" The alchemist's voice carried a hint of resentment as he continued, as if he could see through Xiao Yan entirely. Could these be the true masters of the mansion? Xixing's heart trembled in disbelief. Despite being at the pinnacle of the 8-star Do Di, just one step away from advancing to 9-star Do Di, Xixing still felt overwhelmingly small in the presence of these two figures on the golden chairs. Could they truly be the owners of the estate? Xiao Yan thought, his mind reeling. The strength they exuded was far beyond the peak of Do Di, surpassing even Qin Tian of the Xinling royal family. And this flame-clad figure could only be a sacred flame, the kind that even terrifies my heavenly flame, Xiao Yan mused, his gaze burning with intensity. "Boy, how do you possess something of Yu Xin's?" the alchemist barked suddenly. "Could it be that you?" the alchemist's voice boomed once more. There was a reason for the alchemist's reaction. The moment Xiao Yan appeared, his powerful soul detected the presence of dragon qi within Xiao Yan, in addition to the heavenly flames. Senior, I think you've misunderstood. This conch is actually a token of the heaven-eyed fish clan. I was merely entrusted by Senior Yu Xian to deliver it to Shanyao, Xiao Yan explained. Entrusted to deliver it? I don't think so. Big brother, why don't we extract this kid's soul and see if he's telling the truth? The flame-clad figure chuckled. Fine, I'll leave it to you, the alchemist agreed, before whispering to the flame-clad man, be cautious. Test his nature. He possesses many treasures. If his heart is sound, he may be worth trusting. Shanyao, I imagine you've only just awakened, the alchemist said, tossing the conch back to her. Take it. It's the heaven-eyed fish clan's token. I don't want it. This now belongs to brother Xiao Yan. If it weren't for him, I'd still be trapped in my slumber, Shanyao replied firmly. So, who are you? From the moment Shanyao had seen the two figures, something felt off. She had seen them before in her youth, but their current forms seemed different. There were only two possibilities. Either these were imposters, or this was a test. Let's see how strong this boy is, the alchemist said, disregarding Shanyao's words. Understood, the flame-clad figure answered, rising slightly and rushing toward Xiao Yan with explosive speed. Damn it! Xiao Yan cursed under his breath. Xiao Yan wasn't sure whether the two figures before him were real or imposters, but one thing he knew for certain. The flame power emanating from the fiery figure was undoubtedly sacred flame. This sacred flame had a complete suppression over the heavenly flames within his own body. I can't worry about that right now. Xiao Yan didn't know what the flame figure intended, but he immediately became vigilant. His flame mantra began to circulate rapidly, and layers of flames surged out of his body. His figure flashed, attempting to evade the flame figure's assault. Bang! 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 The flame figure, however, moved with eerie speed and struck Xiao Yan in an instant. Three distinct sounds echoed as Xiao Yan was hit by the figure, the red-yellow flames at the impact sites burning faintly. Even though Xiao Yan's own heavenly flames provided a barrier, he still felt a deep, bone-penetrating pain. Damn it! What's this sacred flame trying to do? Xiao Yan could tell that this was no joke. Though the attacks weren't lethal, the terrifying power of the sacred flame still made him curse under his breath. Moreover, his flame mantra was acting greedily, as though it wanted to devour the sacred flame. Even the heavenly flames within him roared in defiance, eager to challenge the sacred flame's dominance. As the red-yellow sacred flame energy seeped into Xiao Yan's body, he felt an overwhelming fear from his ancient ruler of heavenly flames, the soul-devouring talisman, and even the flame beast within his Douqi Si. You're too slow. The flame figure spoke again, striking Xiao Yan once more. Cough, cough. Xiao Yan was shaken. It became clear that the power of the sacred flame was far beyond what he could handle at his current level. Too slow. Don't talk to me about my true form or my peak power. If you can't even overcome this fragment of my strength, you're just an embarrassment to the technique you practice. If you can't defeat me, then get out of here before you waste any more time. The flame figure's voice dripped with disdain. Get out. Xiao Yan's pupils flared with fiery determination at the insult. The flame inside him, fused from 23 different heavenly flames, flared up angrily, its temperature skyrocketing. Skyfire 3 mysterious changes. With a roar, a mysterious rune slowly emerged on Xiao Yan's forehead. His aura surged violently, skyrocketing to the level of a perfected 5-star Do Di in mere moments. That mark, the more I look at it, the more familiar it seems, the alchemist on the side murmured, his gaze fixed on the mysterious rune on Xiao Yan's forehead. How could this kid have something like that? The flame figure also noticed the anomaly. This rune, only one race in the Great Thousand Worlds possessed it. That race had fought valiantly against the extraterritorial evil clans, sacrificing themselves to protect the Great Thousand Worlds. Many powerful figures owed their lives to this race. This race was the Xiao clan. Kid, where did you get that mark on your forehead? The flame figure couldn't help but ask, even though he had a strong suspicion. Cough, cough. Shouldn't you already know? Xiao Yan coughed heavily. When he used the Skyfire 3 mysterious changes, the Xiao clan's ancestral mark automatically appeared. Xiao Yan didn't fully understand its purpose, but he knew there was some deeper secret or hidden power within the mark that he had yet to unlock. Kid, this mark of yours cannot be faked, but you realize that once it's revealed, it could spell your death, the flame figure said gravely, though his heart was filled with shock. As he had mentioned, the Xiao clan mark was impossible to forge, and anyone bearing it was undoubtedly a descendant of the Xiao clan. Wait a minute, wasn't the Xiao clan supposed to be trapped? How could you? With the power of a mere 5-star Do-D? Impossible. The flame figure suddenly recalled something and shouted. I come from the lower plane, Xiao Yan replied calmly. The lower plane, that explains it, the flame figure said, understanding dawning on him. After this realization, the flame figure's aggressive stance softened, and he turned to the alchemist. What now? Let it be. At this point, this kid might actually be able to help us, the alchemist said after a long pause. A descendant of the Xiao clan likely has a strong character. I took a look inside him earlier and found that not only has he cultivated to the early stage of 5-star Do-D, but his soul power has also reached the peak of the mortal grade in the Imperial realm. And then there's that terrifying flame inside him. The alchemist communicated telepathically with the flame figure. Indeed, I noticed that too. This kid's flame is extraordinary. It's made up of 23 different types. Though it's not as powerful as sacred flame, it's still quite formidable, the flame figure replied. I assume it's due to his technique, the alchemist mused. That great figure from the past practiced a similar technique, battling 3 extraterritorial evil clans by himself and emerging unscathed. Since this kid has been recognized by that technique, it's likely he's worthy. Fine, you're in charge, the flame figure agreed, knowing the alchemist's calm but resolute nature. Kid, you can put away your flames now, the flame figure said. What's going on with these two? Xiao Yan thought in confusion, but he complied, retracting both the clan mark and his flames. After all, he understood that these two figures, even though they were merely energy projections, could easily annihilate him if they wished. Shanyao, where is Shanling? The alchemist asked, his thoughts now aligned with a new plan. Shanling, so that's her name? Shanyao murmured. When we entered this estate, Shanling was taken away by some kind of power, but I can still feel her presence within the mansion. Shanyao accepted the conch and immediately realized that the portion of soul power Xiao Yan had previously imprinted on it had vanished, allowing her to become the new owner. The conch had absorbed Xiao Yan's soul power, which was why it had flown to him earlier. But now, under the alchemist's methods, the conch had been restored to its original state. As the token of the Heaven-Eyed Fish clan, it rightfully belonged in Shanyao's hands. That thing, it's truly a curse, the alchemist muttered, understanding what Shanyao was referring to. Uncle Mu, what is that thing? Shanyao couldn't help but ask. That thing. It should be a prototype of a 4th-rank immortal pill I left behind. The alchemist's voice boomed like a muffled thunderclap through the wooden hall. A 4th-rank immortal pill. Xiao Yan's parched lips moved slightly at the revelation. Boy, how about it? Interested? The alchemist suddenly gave Xiao Yan a mischievous smile. Senior, what do you mean by this? Xiao Yan was bewildered, clearly confused by the alchemist's and the flame figure's earlier actions. It's nothing, really. We just wanted to test your strength, the alchemist said in a calm, unhurried tone. Hearing this, Xiao Yan finally understood. So, the reason for their behavior was linked to this. Well then, you barely passed, the alchemist added, showing no particular dislike toward Xiao Yan. The Xiao clan mark had clearly made an impression on him, causing the alchemist to regard Xiao Yan more seriously. Alright, this energy avatar is about to dissipate. So I'll be brief, the alchemist continued. This mansion is an immortal artifact with sentience. It's a small token of my regard for you, Shanyao and Shanling. The alchemist's gaze softened as he looked kindly at Shanyao. As soon as the alchemist finished speaking, Shanyao could distinctly feel the connection within her growing stronger, deepening her bond with the mansion. Additionally, the box in front of me contains something that can nourish soul power. If you're lucky enough to obtain it, you may find yourself unable to refuse helping us in the future, the alchemist added cryptically. But whether you can get it or not depends on you, he said with a profound tone. Shan Yao pondered his words, while Xiao Yan had a vague suspicion about what lay ahead. Boy, I can tell you have so many different flames because of your cultivation technique, so I won't beat around the bush. If you want the sacred flame, come to the top of the desert mountain range. There, you'll find the secrets you seek, as well as the sacred flame. The flame figure's voice, brimming with arrogance, echoed deeply in Xiao Yan's mind, shaking his heart. After saying this, the energy forms of the flame figure and the alchemist exploded into streaks of light, completely vanishing from the hall. There really is a sacred flame in the desert mountain range? Xiao Yan muttered in disbelief, but he trusted what the flame figure had said. It's likely true. This mansion is closely connected to the top of the desert mountain range. I can feel a scorching aura from there. It should be the sacred flame, Long Yi slowly confirmed to Xiao Yan. However, there are two other auras. One is immensely powerful, enough to make even me uneasy. The other is dark and evil. If I'm not mistaken, it must be the extraterritorial evil clan, Long Yi added. A sacred flame and extraterritorial evil clan. Xiao Yan whispered to himself, both excited and troubled by the thought. The fact that the sacred flame and the evil clan coexisted suggested that there were secrets hidden at the top of the desert mountain range. With the departure of the flame figure and the alchemist, the wooden hall returned to its previous tranquility. The mechanism behind the 10 wooden chairs was deactivated, likely due to the mysterious connection between Shan Yao and the alchemist. That senior mentioned that the box contains something to nourish the soul. I wonder what it is. Xiao Yan's gaze burned with intensity, his heart racing. Despite the box being sealed with powerful restraints, he could still feel its allure. Don't worry, I won't compete with you for it, Xixing said, noticing the heat in Xiao Yan's eyes and quickly distancing himself from any potential conflict. Although he didn't know what the box contained, treasures that nourished the soul were only useful to soul cultivators. Any carelessness in soul cultivation could result in death, so Xixing had no intention of fighting Xiao Yan for it. After all, he still wanted to rely on the pill they had agreed upon to push himself to the 9-star Do D. I'm not interested either, Shan Yao added calmly. Thank you. Xiao Yan felt a warmth in his heart. Although the item in the box wasn't useful to them, their willingness to step aside indicated that his relationship with the two had become quite harmonious. All right then, Xiao Yan, don't hesitate any longer. Go take a look at what's inside the box, Xixing urged with a smile. Even if we can't have it, it's still worth seeing. All right, Xiao Yan laughed, then covered himself with soul power as he approached the box between the two golden chairs. He did this to guard against any possible traps that might be triggered by his approach. Tread. As Xiao Yan took his first step toward the row of wooden chairs, his vigilance peaked, but nothing happened. Feeling a bit more at ease, he continued forward confidently. 1 step, 2 steps, 10 steps. In just a few breaths, Xiao Yan reached the golden chairs. He swept his gaze across them and confirmed that the alchemist and flame figure had indeed vanished, leaving no trace of their presence. So much dust on this box, Xiao Yan muttered as he focused on the box between the two golden chairs. Now that he was closer, he realized that the box was about 1 zhang in size, square-shaped, but covered in a thick layer of dust, obscuring its true appearance. This thing, it must have been sealed, and the method used is quite advanced, Xiao Yan remarked in awe. Even at a glance, he could tell the box was extraordinary. Sealing such immense soul power inside required tremendous strength, far beyond Xiao Yan's current capabilities. With a soft tisk, Xiao Yan raised his hand and gently brushed the dust off the box. As soon as his hand touched the box, a massive force surged through his body. Not good. Xiao Yan cried out. His Do Qi and soul power exploded from his body in a dazzling display as he felt a sudden sharp pain. Ah! A cry escaped Xiao Yan as his vision blurred. The terrifying soul power within the box had erupted the moment he touched the dust, stunning him. However, Xiao Yan, with his peak mortal-class Imperial Realm soul power, quickly recovered. He unleashed his immense soul power to counter the oppressive force emanating from the box while swiftly brushing away the dust. With each motion, the thick layer of dust dissipated, gradually revealing the box's true form. Outside the wooden hall, in a hidden space, a mysterious figure suddenly whispered, "Is that soul essence? Damn that Kwangmu immortal master. He actually left such a precious item here in this wooden hall." A figure in the void surrounding the hall muttered softly, his fists tightening in frustration. This figure, floating outside the wooden hall, was none other than the prototype of a fourth-rank immortal pill. Though it was unclear why this immortal pill had taken on a human form, the faint fluctuations of power emanating from him indicated that his strength had reached the terrifying level of a 9-star Do-D. The fourth-rank immortal pill had long been aware of the valuable treasures hidden within the mansion, but he hadn't expected something so precious to be located in this hall. He had allowed the box to remain on the golden chair because the chair itself was part of a powerful formation, one so formidable that even he, with his immortal pill power, could be gravely injured if he recklessly attempted to take the box. So, he had left it untouched until now. But with Shan Yao's awakening and the arrival of these humans, they were now trying to take the mansion's most valuable treasure. If I obtain this soul essence, I can finally break free from this pill form and become fully human. After all, I'm still just an immortal pill prototype, incomplete and imperfect. The figure muttered to himself, his body silently moving toward the wooden hall. Shan Yao's sharp eyes turned toward the door, catching a faint tremor in the space outside. Did something just move? Was it my imagination? She wondered aloud. She shook her head. It must be a mistake. Whatever it was should be in the backyard, she concluded, dismissing the thought. However, her connection with the mansion had alerted her to the presence of something entering the wooden hall. She dismissed it as an error, thinking the strong aura in the backyard was likely the cause of the disturbance, and didn't pay it much attention. This is... Xiao Yan wiped the last of the dust from the box, and the soul fluctuations emanating from it suddenly calmed. In its place, the surface of the box revealed a mysterious bronze sheen. Whatever's inside must be valuable, Xiao Yan smirked slightly, his eyes fixed on the bronze-colored box. The undulating waves on its surface sent a tremor through his heart. This box, could it be imbued with the power of sacred flame? Xiao Yan was astonished. The box emanated an aura so powerful it seemed to cut off his own strength. I refuse to believe I can't deal with this, Xiao Yan said defiantly. His flame mantra roared into motion, and immense flames began to form, swirling around his body. Burn! Xiao Yan commanded softly. As soon as the words left his mouth, the immense flames within him surged like a tidal wave toward the box in his hand. Boom! 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 The terrifying force of his flames caused the temperature in the wooden hall to spike, catching Shan Yao and Xixing off guard. This kid's flame power, how is it this terrifying? Xixing marveled inwardly, shocked by Xiao Yan's strength. He hadn't fought the flame figure earlier, so he had no idea just how powerful Xiao Yan's flames truly were. However, a few minutes passed, and the box remained unscathed, causing Xiao Yan's brow to furrow. Still so tough? Let's try this again, he muttered, shifting strategies. Xiao Yan stilled his flame mantra, replacing it with a surge of immense soul power. Swoosh! The immense soul power rushed out like a flood, and the box began to hum in resonance, trembling faintly. There we go. Xiao Yan was thrilled. So the flame pattern was just a deterrent. The real key lies in soul power. With growing excitement, Xiao Yan poured even more soul power into the box. Within moments, the box responded, slowly opening. What's this? Xiao Yan and his ancient ruler of heavenly flames gasped simultaneously. Soul essence, they exclaimed in shock. Soul essence, the foundational resource for immortal tier alchemists. Soul power at the Imperial Realm is invisible and formless. One can create soul avatars with the same strength as the main body, though they lack consciousness and must be controlled by the main body. However, if the soul avatar is injured, the main body suffers as well. But once you reach the immortal realm, soul power can be condensed into a tangible liquid form. The condensation of soul essence is something that drives alchemists to madness. It allows one to break through the limits of Imperial Realm soul power. The Imperial Realm soul power itself has 3 tiers: mortal, earth, and heaven. The role of soul essence is to help break through these tiers. It's no wonder this mysterious substance is so coveted by alchemists. However, the conditions for condensing soul essence are incredibly demanding, which is why it's so rare. Only an alchemist with soul power at the immortal tier can forcibly extract and condense their own soul power to create soul essence. However, immortal tier alchemists are exceedingly powerful figures. None would risk damaging their soul essence to condense this substance. That's what makes soul essence so rare. To think I would actually encounter soul essence here. Xiao Yan's eyes gleamed as he stared at the transparent liquid in front of him. The clear liquid rested peacefully within the box, but within it, Xiao Yan could feel a terrifying power lying in wait, making his scalp tingle. What terrifying energy! Just from the ripples alone, this must have been condensed by an extraordinary alchemist. Soul essence. I wonder what the master of the desert mountain range encountered to leave behind something this precious. Long he remarked, his tone tinged with sorrow. The sheer concentration of soul essence spoke to the strength of its creator. However, the fact that such a powerful figure had left behind such a valuable treasure, coupled with the presence of the extraterritorial evil clans in the desert mountain range, weighed heavily on Long Yi's mind. Senior, rest assured, since I've taken your treasure, I will naturally help you in return, Xiao Yan said respectfully, bowing slightly toward the 2 golden chairs. Xiao Yan knew that with this soul essence, breaking through his current soul power at the peak of the mortal grade in the Imperial Realm was only a matter of time. He had been stuck at this level for a while now. Once he broke through, his skills as an alchemist would also naturally rise to 2nd-rank Imperial class. A 2nd-rank Imperial class alchemist would be highly sought after even by major sects, making Xiao Yan a valuable asset. Having said that, Xiao Yan carefully reached for the soul essence, intending to collect it. But just as his hand touched the box, a powerful force swept in from nearby, snatching the soul essence box away. "This is mine," a voice filled with contempt echoed through the hall. "Damn it!" Xiao Yan was startled, and flames instantly erupted from his body as he warily faced the figure before him. While the soul essence was incredibly valuable and something Xiao Yan desperately needed, the figure in front of him exuded a terrifying aura that made Xiao Yan feel the threat of death. He had no choice but to put the soul essence aside for now. The sudden appearance of this figure brought with it such an overwhelming pressure that Xiao Yan could tell they were far stronger than Xixing. "Kid, I'll take this for myself, but just to avoid any unnecessary trouble, you should?" The figure's voice trailed off into a sinister laugh as he stored the soul essence away. Then, with a flip of his hand, he unleashed a massive surge of black and white energy, shooting directly at Xiao Yan. The terrifying force of life and death surged toward Xiao Yan like a reaper's scythe, aiming straight for him. This seemingly casual strike was enough to obliterate even a 7-star Do D in an instant, let alone Xiao Yan, who was only at the early stage of 5-star Do D. "Watch out!" Xixing, who was standing about a dozen meters away, reacted immediately, dashing toward Xiao Yan as fast as he could. Swoosh! In an instant, Xixing reached Xiao Yan's side. His aged hand lit up with a dazzling 3-colored power, which he used to intercept the black and white force aimed at Xiao Yan. Boom! The 2 powers collided, and the resulting explosion shook the entire hall. Both the mysterious figure and Xixing were thrown backward. However, as Xixing retreated, blood trickled from the corners of his mouth and from his hand, where he had caught Xiao Yan. It was clear that Xixing had come off worse in the clash. "Thank you," Xiao Yan said gratefully, nodding toward Xixing. "Who are you? An immortal tier pill?" Shan Yao's pupils contracted slightly as she finally recognized the figure. "Heh, seems like you've got sharp eyes," the mysterious figure chuckled, no longer bothering to conceal his identity. After all, with such an overwhelming difference in strength, there was no need for deception. Even though Xixing was at the peak of 8-star Do D and Shan Yao was an early 7-star Do D, Xiao Yan, who was merely a 5-star Do D, was so insignificant that he didn't even register in the immortal tier pill's eyes. He's powerful, Xixing remarked, stabilizing his breath. Very powerful, Xiao Yan agreed, still feeling the lingering threat from the life and death energy the figure had unleashed. But we must get that soul essence no matter what, Xiao Yan muttered through gritted teeth. After coming so far into the mansion and finding something that could help him break through his soul power bottleneck, he wasn't about to let it slip through his fingers so easily. I'll do my best. I can hold my own against him, but protecting both of you at the same time might be too much. Besides, the energy surrounding him feels strange. Unnaturally so, Xixing said, his eyes fixed on the immortal tier pill, deep in thought. Oh. Xiao Yan calmed himself and focused on observing the figure before him. Indeed, something is off, Xiao Yan murmured after a brief probe. The mysterious figure's power was formidable, but there was something eerie about it. The game ends now, the immortal tier pill said, standing up and addressing Shan Yao. Shan Yao, come with me. I promise not to kill these two. Where is Shan Ling? Where did you take her? Shan Yao asked, ignoring his command. Heh, no wonder you're from the heaven-eyed fish clan. That fearlessness. You're just like Yuxin back in the day, the immortal tier pill, now called Danshin by Shan Yao, sneered. Answer me. Shan Yao demanded, her tone growing cold. Don't worry. I won't kill her until I've secured control of this mansion, Danshin replied, his smile hiding a chilling edge. Humph. Shan Yao snorted. Grandpa Mu created you to protect this mansion. How could you have turned out like this? Do you think you've lived up to what he intended for you? Yeah, and why didn't that old man give me a spirit? Do you know that there's a world of difference between a 4th-rank immortal pill with sentience and one without? If he had given me sentience, I wouldn't have become what I am now. But as it happened, right after he created me, he was caught up in something, and I accidentally swallowed other pills in the alchemy room, leading me to this state. Dan Shun snarled as he took slow, deliberate steps toward Shan Yao, his voice full of resentment. But in the end, you were still created by Grandpa Mu. If he knew what you've become, your fate would be. Shan Yao responded calmly, unfazed by Dan Shun's approach. No, that's impossible. Dan Shun's voice trembled with fear, and his legs shook at the mention of Grandpa Mu. It was clear that the mere mention of this figure terrified him. Who is this Grandpa Mu that Shan Yao keeps talking about? Could he be the true master of this mansion? Xiao Yan wondered. And it seems Shan Yao and this Danshin know each other? As these questions swirled in Xiao Yan's mind, Danshin suddenly roared in anger. Apparently, something Shan Yao said had pushed him over the edge. With his roar, Danshin's body emitted a fragrant scent, a scent so potent it was almost intoxicating. This scent is poisonous. Xiao Yan, as a peak 1st-rank Imperial-class alchemist, immediately recognized the danger. He quickly pulled out 2 high-grade antidote pills and tossed them to Shan Yao and Xixing. Take them, Xiao Yan shouted, his heart sinking. Shan Yao and Xixing quickly caught the pills and swallowed them, feeling the dizziness and vertigo subside as the antidote took effect. Xixing, Shan Yao, prepare to fight. Xiao Yan knew that talking was futile at this point. His energy surged as he fixed his gaze on Danshin. Danshin's body continued to release waves of deadly fragrance, and his strength, from what Xiao Yan could tell, was at the terrifying level of a 9-star Do D. You all must die, Danshin declared, his body emitting the lethal scent in all directions. As the toxic energy spread, everything in the wooden hall disintegrated into dust. We can't fight him directly. His power is too overwhelming, Xiao Yan muttered, shaking his head. With his extensive soul perception, Xiao Yan understood that the gap between their strengths was simply too vast to risk a direct confrontation. If we're talking about subduing a complete 4th-rank immortal pill, I don't have a way. But if it's just a prototype like this one, I might have a solution, Shan Yao suddenly said, noticing Xiao Yan's growing alarm.